Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. Today I want to talk about instrumental forms of harmony, most particularly. You've written a great melody. You know what the chords are. Now, how do I approach playing those chords? Do I play all the notes at once? Do I break it up? How do I break it up? That's instrumental form. It really doesn't have anything to do with whether you're playing violin or piano or guitar. All of those instruments have various ways of handling harmony. I want to look at that today. Well, first of all, if this is the second or third video of mine you've seen and you're getting something out of this channel and you're not subscribed, please subscribe now. We're trying to build a community of musicians, composers, arrangers, producers who want to use music theory, not in an academic way, but to support their own interests. I hope this is music theory for everyone. Listen, just to that end, let's take a look at this simple melody. I think you'll recognize it. Amazing Grace. It could be harmonized a number of ways. I've harmonized it with the chords over to the right, but you're not hearing any chords right now. Those chords now are going to be inserted under the melody as blocks. All the notes of the chords happen at the same time. And this is the first type of instrumental form I want to talk about. It's called block chords. And it sounds kind of churchy. It's not for everyone. How you play the chords is about style. This style, alternating, is a great style. Some people play bass note, chord, chord, bass note. It could be any number of alternations between a bass note and some members of the chord. In piano, sometimes they call this stride, but it really is just alternating a bass note with the rest of the chord. That's the second style of instrumental form, very broadly. And then the third one is a broken chord. One note at a time. These are simple arpeggios, and those arpeggios could happen in any number of ways. Here they're just going triplets up. It could go up and down. It could go up and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle and come down. This is the third type, broken chords. I love this sound. That might be very nice, say, on a harp or even an instrument that can only play one note at a time, right? If you were playing violin or, I suppose you can play a couple of notes on violin, you usually don't, or, flute or clarinet, you could play a G chord by breaking up the chord. Let's talk about that. As a quick review, and we were in the key of G, so let's stay in the key of G. Every one of these chords in G has an identity individual notes, right? But we don't have to play it that way. We can play root, rest of the chord, fifth, rest of the chord, root, rest of the chord, fifth. In fact, this technique gives us some really big advantages, and this is why musicians like instrumental form, because the instrumental form has style. My teacher, Dr. Roland Wiggins, said that how you handle instrumental form is probably the single most important determining element in your style. Are you a jazz musician who likes to sort of stab your block chords? Are you a, sort of ambient musician who wants to play broken chords, lots of arpeggios? Do you prefer a pop style that plays block chords? all those things come into play in terms of style. So let's look at an easy chord progression and maybe try it a couple of different ways. Say A minor 7, D7, G. I played those as broken chords. Let's play them as alternating chords. A minor 7, D7, G, E7 just to get back to A, and you heard that it had style, right? You heard that it had a feeling of, in this case, kind of old school stride piano. Something about instrumental form goes directly to style. And as a musician, as a composer or arranger, you have a kind of a responsibility to decide what your style is. And when you're deciding style, a lot of the time what you're deciding is instrumental form. So maybe we do that same chord progression as broken chords, instrumental form that's broken. I got a chance to add a lot of notes to it. I don't mind that. I'll put ninths, I'll put 13ths in. It's a broken chord, right? Maybe it's a pop song. I just want to play block chords. I'm Phil Collins playing piano. All the styles of music you can think of have a number of elements that go directly to instrumental form. Here's a classic example from sort of the New Orleans piano style. A broken bass in a very specific rhythm. That's that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 rhythm, right? If I just do that and add block chords in the right hand, I get that NOLA sound. It's crazy, but deciding on your instrumental form becomes a huge part of your identity as a musician. Research instrumental forms and figure out what you want to do. You can sound like Mozart just by doing that's a specific instrumental form. Is it broken or alternating? It's kind of a combination. This is actually called the Alberti bass. The three major or most important categories are block chords. I'm playing all the notes at once. Alternating, I play a bass note and then the rest of the chord, a bass note and then the rest of the chord, kind of like strumming a guitar or something like that, imagine. And then broken chords. There are many ways to play block chords. There are many ways to play alternating patterns, and there are many ways to play broken chords. One of my favorite block chord approaches is to use sus and ninth substitutions as I play the block. So my A minor 7, D7, G could turn into something sort of much sexier. That's all A minor 7, D sus, D7, G sus, G. You can see in the interior of that set of block chords how individual notes kind of hang up and move freely. We get a much more interesting sound. We can do the same thing with any one of these instrumental forms. Broken chords can be played with rhythmic intricacy. For instance, if I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and do 2 against 3 in this hand, I get a great pattern. Has a kind of a Phil Glass sort of quality. Well, if you're a film composer, a game composer, instrumental form is super useful to plan for and think about because it goes to style, and style very often creates mood, doesn't it? All of our instrumental forms are going to have different levels of rhythmic energy. All these choices are crucial to your identity as a composer and arranger. Understand instrumental form consciously. I bet you already do things that are easily identifiable as specific instrumental forms that are just yours, that are signature to you. I always like to play this type of figure around this chord. I love this broken chord, and I like an arpeggio like this. I like to play block chords, and I do it this way. Consciously identifying those things allows you to really expand your style because you know what the ground zero is, and then you can move off from it. Be your own theorist. Instrumental form's a great way to begin to analyze your own playing. Well, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe, ding the bell. You'll be notified when I do my videos. I'll see you next time.